Greetings and salutations. We are back with another video. This time it's me covering the Pendragon. I do believe this is the 6th edition Pendragon Starter Set. As per typical with Chaosium, they often choose a thin body box as opposed to a thick body box, unlike say everyone else. And for example, even though it doesn't matter too much, this is a typical box. Most starter boxes come in form. It's a pull top. However, there's ones where the ends open up. Typically, most Chaosium starter sets stand a little taller, net space for the dice, and are thinner. This is a odd choice, because this often results in, if you put it on a shelf, it being awkward on that shelf. So there we go. On the backside, they show off a whole pile of stuff that comes in this box. By the way, it MSRPs for $29.99, which is actually a pretty decent price range. And here we go. As you can see, as I lifted off, it's a treated top, so you can use that as a dice tray. There's some artwork that matches up with the back side, or on the outside, as well as just blank corner edge on the outside here. This is the what you get in the box sheet. Right up top of here, there is 6 dice, a D20, and 6 D6s. This is the old BPR style system, not the more modernized BPR style system. The more modernized system, which is for Call of Cthulhu 7th edition, I personally feel is superior to this setup, because the old style one requires you to have a chart, and everyone has to end up keeping a chart with themselves, or they have to memorize is the whole attack matrix. So it's like really old school in the sense that, unlike more modern games where you can just you can memorize it very quickly and easily. Oh, does a 20 hit? Oh, you're gonna have to look on a chart now. So that's one of those things, you know. Sometimes I like the grognards. Sometimes I hate them because they kind of stunt a system from evolving out of its less desirable traits. So on the back side here, we happen to have a advertisement for RuneQuest. So there you go. Right here is the first book, The Adventure of the Sword and the Stone. This is a solo player adventure for the system. So all you need to do is you need your dice, and you need to just open up this book, read through the solo quest introduction for the player and game masters, playing the game, your character, and so forth. And you just simply follow through the whole thing. It essentially operates like a choose-your-own adventure book. So when you resolve 43, you go to 45. You have the previous one, and then you had a range of options between 43 and 44, and so forth. Some of them loop back around, and there you go. You get the general idea. Basically, a choose-your-own adventure book with some dice rolling and some character sheets. The second book, The Fabled Realm, basically goes over the rules and the setting for Pendragon. So, this book is of value to both the players and the game masters. There is a decent table of contents here with some table with all the tables and their locations in the book. It has delightful artwork, very befitting of the era in which this setting is set up in, and so forth. You get some really goofy creatures. in there and so forth. And this generally gets you a good ways on your start to playing Pendragon here. You got a nice little section on combat. You got a wild boar hunt. This is one of those tables you have to reference periodically of your critical successes, failures, and partial successes, as well as a fumble. Another table right here, a small one. Chapter 7, Arms and Armor. So Chapter 1 is Another World, Another Time. Chapter 2 is the game system. Chapter 3 is traits and passions. Chapter 4 is skills. Chapter 5 is the honor and glory system. Chapter 6 is combat. 7 is arms and armor. Chapter 8 is horses, very important in a legendary or a medieval setting. Chapter 9 is injury and death. Chapter 10 is wealth and treasure. And Chapter 11 is the winter phase. So there you go. You have a very nice range of artwork throughout this whole book. It's actually pretty well written as far as I can tell overall from reading over the bits and pieces I have. This is one of those situations where it's on the 1,000 list of systems to be played, yet never gets around to getting worked into the schedule. Injury and death. Yes, the tradition of people being stabbed and having a I don't really care look. Wealth and treasure. Chapter 11, which is basically just 2 pages. And then we go to the third book, which is the big campaign in which you and your players play. Which has the introduction for Chapter 1, the adventure for Adventure of the Sword Tournament, Chapter 2. Chapter 3 is the Adventure of the Forest and the Silver Deer. And Chapter 4 is the Adventure of the Broken Sword. And yet, I'm not going to go and page through this whole thing. There are some nice maps that are included in here, as well as some nice artwork, some scene dressing, and more. It sits around 49 pages. And then this is where Chaosium comes into their their tour de force or their happy little ground. Tons and tons of player aids and handouts. So you got basic reminders of all the battle system references. Another booklet with all the rules for combat battle system. Rules for overland movement. Distance and foreign court rules. And then you happen to have cards that actually split out with stats on them. As well as your character sheets. The character sheets are the standard folio style, which open up with a little bit of information on the character's background and a portrait of the character. You have a mixture of men as well as women. Woman. And that be it. This would be really fun to play. I really do like all these handouts in here. that go over rules for tournaments as well as combat and other stuff here. So it's not just in the book. So you can have one person who has the book, and you can have another person just with the handout sheets. I really do like the fact that Chaosium puts in a solo adventure for the Game Master and players. Game Master, any player who wants to run through it can do so. That way they can become familiarized with the game system before they even play the game system with the group, which is always a really nice treat. As typical for Chaosium, the box leaves very little to no room left in it for anything else. It's not like Wizards of the Coast, which leaves like an inch of empty space inside the box. So there you go. I do say this starter set is like a 4.25. My only gripe about it is the abnormal height, which screws with a lot of people because it is tall. As I said before, it's taller than a typical book. Get that player's handbook for AD&D 2nd edition. So when you are dealing with bookshelves, that little extra space on top of the book oftentimes will just screw with you on a lot of levels. However, I use cubicle shelves myself a lot, so it's not that big of a deal for me. But still, for people who have standard shelves, I bet it has to be annoying. That's really about it. Like, there's hardly anything you can improve on this in this book. Maybe add a few more things. I would have most definitely liked it if Chaosium somehow got around to updating all their new updated systems to the new updated BPR system for Call of Cthulhu, where it's basically just straight up D100 rules and work something else out with the dice on the side. I've been told a lot of times that is largely due to the resistance tables for, say, like RuneQuest, which uses the older style BPR system, much like Pendragon. However, I really don't think that should be the case with Pendragon. It should have been updated to the new style, like Call of Cthulhu. So it would probably have been a 4.75 if it was updated to the new style. Well, there you go. Thank you very much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it very much. And I have a delightful day, a nice night, a wonderful weekend, a magnificent month. And see you next time. Ciao.